Today in this video, we have got a question for you. When you switch on your TV, looking at what is happening in Palestine, on the war that the Israel had imposed on Palestinians in Gaza, what do you think about this war? Who's the real mastermind behind all this war that we get to see in Palestine? Feel free to drop us your comment in the comment section so that we can also get to understand your point of view on what is happening. Because according to the president of EFF, Julius Malema, he believes that it is not about Israel who's firing and killing innocent people over there in Palestine, but instead it is the US who've been killing innocent people in Palestine. Let's first have a listen to what Julius Malema had said before we get to continue with more analysis.
It was very clear that the war is not between Israel and Palestine. The war is between America and Palestine, because Israel is a military base of America in the Middle East. Therefore, when we demand the freedom of the people of Palestine, you must know that the real enemy is USA. And it must be made very clear that America is the one that is killing children. America's civilized democracy is the one that undermines the international law. America that is civilized is the one that is killing women in Palestine. Women are being killed. Children are being killed. The hospitals that are still standing and have not been bombed have got no medication. Therefore, they don't even qualify to be called hospitals. Israel is engaged in ethical cleansing of the Palestinians. Under our watch, the world is doing nothing. The UN tried to pass a resolution on ceasefire to allow medication, food, water to reach Gaza and all other parts of Palestine. The USA vetoed. Tomorrow we will wake up with no single Palestinian. We'll read in history that they used to be Palestinians. And we will be there to testify that it's true. But the question will be, what have you done? As the EFF, we played our role, and we play our role in solidarity with the people of Palestine. We said at the Israeli embassy when we were marching that McDonald's must issue a statement distancing itself from McDonald's of Israel, which was wrapping its food with the colors that reflect the Israeli flag. McDonald's did that. We said to Woolworths, we are not like these gangsters of yours in the Western Cape. We said to Woolworths, withdraw every product that comes from Israel. They've withdrawn it. We said to Parliament, let's pass a resolution that says Israeli embassy must leave South Africa because we cannot share a territory with murderers who are committing genocide. That resolution of the EFF passed.
That was Julius Malema, the president of EFF in South Africa, who had to give also his point of view according to the results that he have on his table about what is happening in Palestine, where Israel keep on bombing children and women over there for some times now. And we are inviting you guys to feel free to tell us also what you think about what Julius Malema have said. Who do you think is the mastermind behind all of this killing of innocent people in Palestine? Is it Israel or is it the US? But guys, before we get also to give also our point of view, I just want us first to get to understand the whole scenario, how it took place, and how we managed to get where we are today, because it is very important for us at least to be able to hold the history, to understand exactly what have happened, because otherwise we'll keep being misled by other nations out there, or we'll keep being misled by other medias, because as I always tell you time to time that the Western media, they are there at the service of their masters. They are there to represent the system of the open eye masters. So they will never gonna say something that will sabotage their masters. They will always have to make sure that whatsoever they say, whatsoever they televise on their TVs, it should be something that will benefit them. It should be something that will protect them and present them as a powerful nations. So these Western medias, usually they are there to show you things that your eyes don't want to see, things that your ear do not want to hear, because they don't want you to know the truth. That the things that you deserve to know, they will never gonna show you. So that is the reason why we have organized these organizations, so that we can come here and sit down and have a conversation, in a very open hearts, where we get to discuss everything in details without taboo, where we we have to have that courage to at least call each and everything by its name, tell each other the truth regardless of how it hates. So that is the reason why we are here, so that we can have this kind of analysis. Couple of weeks ago, when all these things started, here at Cool Buzz TV, we had told you something, and by then, not even Julius Malema had said all these things that you guys just watched in this video that I play of Julius Malema not long ago. According to us, we had said that the war that Israel is imposing on Palestine in Gaza, it has nothing to do with Israel. We have said about that, and we even went far to tell you that we don't have any proof that shows that it was real, that the Hamas rebellion groups, that the one who had attacked Israel at first, as the world is trying to make it look like. Why did we say so? Because we had analyzed for you guys, together with you, we told you that the US, with their alliance, they are up to something in the Middle East. And as if you know the politics of the US, I'm referring to the US foreign policy. They don't just go and invade a country on their own. In most of the case, they usually use someone who will have to come and play the main roles, while they're the one who have to hide behind. We gave you example of what happened with Saddam Hussein in Iraq back in days. We gave you example of what happened with Muammar Gaddafi in Libya again back in days. If you look all these leaders, the US, they did not leave America and come in all these countries in order for them to bring this instability and destroy the economy of these countries. They'll have to find someone who will have to play that role for them, that dirty roles. And if you look about these two leaders that I just mentioned, you will see that they first try to paint with a dirty brush to these leaders, saying that they are dictators, they don't love their peoples, they don't want to do this, they don't want to do that. For an example, when they want to eliminate Muammar Gaddafi, in order for them to eliminate Muammar Gaddafi, do you still remember what Barack Obama had said back then?
Tonight, President Obama's goal was simple: to explain to a public skeptical about the war he's launched in Libya
what we've done, what we plan to do, and why this matters to us.
It has been 10 days since Mr. Obama ordered U.S. forces into combat in Libya. Nearly 200 Tomahawk cruise missiles launched, more than 1,600 airstrikes. And so the challenge for the president: justify this war and show Americans that the U.S. role really will be brief and limited.
The United States and the world faced a choice. Gaddafi declared he would show no mercy to his own people. He compared them to rats and threatened to go door to door to inflict punishment.
It was Muammar Gaddafi, Obama said, who was the main reason for war. He was about to launch a massacre of his own people.
It was not in our national interest to let that happen. I refused to let that happen.
And so the attack began. One question has hovered over this mission. How is it in the strategic interests of the United States to go to war in Libya? Robert Gates, Obama's own Secretary of Defense, complicated matters for his boss on ABC's This Week yesterday.
Do you think Libya posed an actual or imminent threat to the United States?
No, it was not. It was not a vital national interest to the United States, but it was an interest.
Tonight, President Obama sought to explain. He said that standing by while Gaddafi crushed the rebellion could destabilize neighboring Egypt and Tunisia and cast a shadow over the freedom movement sweeping the Arab world. But in the end, it is really a moral case the president is making for war.
Some nations may be able to turn a blind eye to atrocities in other countries. The United States of America is different. And as president, I refuse to wait for the images of slaughter and mass graves before taking action.
The action in Libya has turned the tide. Rebel forces have now retaken all the territory they had lost to Gaddafi's troops as Allied airstrikes have grounded the dictator's planes and paved the way towards Tripoli. But that may have been the easy part. Today, the rebel advance halted before the city of Sirte, Gaddafi's hometown, where his far better equipped forces have hunkered down. And that leads to another question for the president. Is helping the rebels get rid of Gaddafi the goal?
If we tried to overthrow Gaddafi by force, our coalition would splinter. The dangers faced by our men and women in uniform would be far greater. So would the costs and our share of the responsibility for what comes next. To be blunt, we went down that road in Iraq.
And we aren't doing that again, the president said. But war has its own merciless logic, and history is littered with such declarations. The questions about Libya keep coming. Who are these rebels? Are they really pro-democracy? What happens if Gaddafi doesn't go? Could Libya's civil war drag that country into Somalia-style chaos? President Obama didn't answer those questions. Instead, he declared that our ancient values are now our vital interests as the Middle East erupts in popular and unpredictable revolutions.
We can make a difference. I believe that this movement of change cannot be turned back, and that we must stand alongside those who believe in the same core principles that have guided us through many storms.
Before even that, Muammar Gaddafi was not the first leader that the USA eliminated. Do you guys still remember what they did to Saddam Hussein? We all saw how George Bush made this announcement from the White House, threatening another sovereign country with their leader, Saddam Hussein, telling him that he should quit his and his son and flee Iraq. Do you still remember that?
All the decades of deceit and cruelty have now reached an end. Saddam Hussein and his sons must leave Iraq within 48 hours. Their refusal to do so will result in military conflict, commenced at a time of our choosing.
At this hour, American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations to disarm Iraq, to free its people, and to defend the world from grave danger.
U.S. defense officials said today the attacks have significantly weakened the Iraqi president's elite Republican Guard troops.
The British Challenger tanks are spearheading the attack on Basra, but it is proving a lengthy business, resistance stronger than anticipated, and every day more civilians are killed and maimed. As soon as it's deemed safe, those armored vehicles are bringing in aid to try and win over people here.
North of Baghdad, near the Kurdish town of Kifri, massive pre-dawn explosions lit up the sky. The constant heavy bombing by U.S.-led forces continued into the morning.
Day by day, we are moving closer to Baghdad. Day by day, we are moving closer to victory.
The Army's 3rd Infantry Unit, known as the Tip of the Spear, now is inside Baghdad's so-called Red Zone. At Karbala, U.S. Apache helicopters assisted American ground troops who eventually crossed the Euphrates and continue their move north. There are miles of desert terrain ahead before they reach the urban outskirts of Baghdad.
The heart of Baghdad fell to U.S. forces today, and Saddam Hussein's regime largely collapsed. Thousands of Iraqis swarmed the streets to celebrate the end of the dictator's rule.
U.S. troops manned checkpoints in and around Baghdad today. Iraqi residents were back on the streets of the capital for a second day. Some embarked on a new wave of looting, taking carpets, furniture, refrigerators. They even rounded up horses from the stables of the Republican Guard. Meanwhile, U.S. forces continued to battle sporadically against pockets of Iraqi resistance in the city.
Go!
U.S. troops stepped up security at checkpoints throughout the capital this evening after a suicide bomber blew himself up at a checkpoint near the Palestine hotel. 4 Marines were wounded.
I think it confirms everything we've expected coming here. We came here, looking for a fight. And when you're fighting a guy whose regime has systematically raped and tortured his own people, for so many years, we expected all the dirty tricks to come out.
Officers and sailors of the USS Abraham Lincoln, my fellow Americans, major combat operations in Iraq have ended. In the Battle of Iraq, the United States and our allies have prevailed.
To date, none of the Iraqi regime's alleged weapons stockpile has been found. White House spokesman Ari Fleischer was pressed today about the broader justifications for the war.
You repeatedly assert that he had, but...
So we can go on with this kind of example for many more leaders around the world that the US have destroyed and eliminated physically. But in this video, we just prepared the example for these 2 leaders that the US have eliminated and what was their strategies in order for them to eliminate these leaders. So you understand that they have to come through their populations, through their political opposition leaders, through someone or either maybe other neighboring countries in order for them to succeed and achieve their missions. Besides this example of 2 leaders, we are having even more examples of other nations around the world which the USA have invaded, and they never go there directly, but they always make sure that they go via someone. And that is how we see them going to Pakistan, Afghanistan, all these countries. So they usually do this in most of the case. Recently, you saw for yourself how they went all the way to Ukraine because they were in a mission to find a proper way to neutralize Russia, which they thought that it was going to be easy for them. But until now, things are not that easy for them because they are now changing the directions, going to somewhere else instead of finishing what they had started in Ukraine. Now you might ask your question to know, why is it that they don't just assume their responsibility? They can't just have the courage to speak it loud and tell the world that we are the one who are attacking these nations, or we are the one who are trying to kill these leaders? Why do they always have to hide behind someone or other countries? Well, it's for the simple reasons. The USA, they have this one thing that they usually like to make the world believe in, saying that they are the democracy country. If we are talking about the lectures of democracy, that will be them. Well, that is how they've been trying to make it look like out there. But when you go to the bottom of this so-called democracy, there is nothing that proves them to be the world's #1 when it comes to democracy. Instead, they are the most hypocrite people out there, that they can be eating with you in the same plate. At the same time, they're busy poisoning you slow by slow. So they don't want to assume this responsibility, because they know that the day they'll do that, the world will just turn their backs against them, because they'll see that these people, there has nothing good we can imitate for them. And that is the reason why you see them, they always make sure that they use one nation to go against another nation, and then they'll hide themselves behind it. Is that make Julius Malema be right on what he said? Of course, yes. Julius Malema is totally right, because even on our site as well at Cool Bars, we had told you that this war, it is not about Israel and Palestine as they are trying to make it look like. This war, it is about USA, who's in their missions to do something in the Middle East. We went for telling you that USA, they've been trying for some times now to see on how they can neutralize, Iran. And in order for them to neutralize Iran, USA, they can't leave their country and go all the way to Iran and start attacking Iran or trying to impose their leadership on Iran, because that it will change the game for them. So they need someone who can be there as their representative. You heard Julius Malema saying that Israel, it is the US military base in the east.
The war is between America and Palestine, because Israel is a military base of America in the Middle East.
So since they are representing the USA over there, whatsoever the US want to do in the Middle East, they'll have to go and do it through Israel. That is the clear mathematics that you guys need to understand, that it is not about Israel fighting Palestine. Israel, they are being used there so that they will bring that conflict, and that conflict is going to spread around the Arabic regions. Through that spread conflict, the US will be able to deal straight with Iran. Am I lying? I don't think so, because if I was lying, by this time Iran is supposed to be keeping quiet, but you can see Iran also attacking back on all the drones that the USA are trying to fly them through the Iran countries. Any system that the USA is trying to put on top of Iran, they're destroying it, because they don't want anyone to come and spy on them. Besides that, you had the TK president also threatening Israel, telling them that they have to cease fire. If they don't do that, then they should be ready, because TK will support Palestine, and they will start attacking Israel as well. What about Yemen, whom the defense minister went on and make a serious allegations about Israel, and telling Israel that they are ready for war, and they have started doing that already by sending their missile in Israel. But guess who came to the defense of Israel? Of course, the US. They have to send also their drones, which have to go and destroy all this bombarding that the Republic of Yemen, they were planning on Israel. So you see already that we are already in the World War III, which was organized and well monitoring by the US. So again, Julius Malema, what he's saying about the war that is going on in Palestine is actually right after all, because it really makes sense, and we don't need to beat around the bush. We don't need to have a diplomacy language so that we should not talk about this. Because another proof I can give you, it is when the USA want to condemn something bad about around the world, you will see all these world organizations, they'll support what the USA is saying, and they'll stick to that, they'll obey them. Do you still remember when the ICC launched his arrest warrant against Vladimir Putin? How the USA was celebrating, they were busy jumping and clapping about it, because they knew that it was going to work for them. Though they are not part of these ICC organizations, they had the courage to go and launch that arrest warrant against Vladimir Putin. Now, when you take this Prime Minister of Israel, Netanyahu, and this USA and these world organizations, all of them putting them together, what are them saying about the crime that is happening in Palestine? No one is condemning it. Innocent people are dying each and every day. It's just that we don't want to show you any kind of footage that will really shock to your eyes. But guys, you can Google for yourself. You will see how innocent people are being killed over there. Children, women who are defenseless. They are being killed by people who are well armed. And no one is condemning it. No one is talking about it. No one had the courage to launch an arrest warrant against the Israel Prime Minister. All this because it is the USA who's behind all this. If the USA were not behind all this, I believe by now, the kind of crime that these people they had committed already in Hamas, you will see that by this time they had already sent an arrest warrant against them. But the man is there. He's walking freely. No one is stopping him. No one is fighting him. No one is asking him any questions. All because they know very well that if we have to launch this arrest warrant against him, then which means it will be like we are arresting, we are trying to arrest the United States of America. This is another sign which is showing that the UN is not an organization that we can trust, especially us as Africans. Because you can tell already that these organizations, they have a bad intentions toward the world, especially Africans. They are doing things like they don't want to treat people in the same way. They don't want to see people in the same level, and that is something that each and every Africans they don't want at the moment. Because see how the kind of crime that the Prime Minister of Israel had committed already so far, it is way too much compared to the one that they've been accusing Vladimir Putin. And yet no one is talking about it. Not even the USA was asking them to cease fire. Why? Because they are in their missions. Their mission is not yet succeed. Once their mission will succeed, you will see the conflict in that region will finish once for all without even no one have to sit down and negotiate. Trust me. Because their mission is there to make sure that Iran does not go ahead and develop his nuclear bomb plans. They try to fight Iran with these plans through the UN Assembly, General Assembly. They fail over there. They try to talk through their sanctions like always, trying to impose kind of sanctions on Iran so that Iran they should not have the courage to go ahead and finish their plans. They even accuse Iran of supplying Vladimir Putin with some weapons. They come up with all the kind of lies so that Iran can be seen out there as a bad country with bad leaders. All these mafias did not work for them. Now they have to go in the Arabic regions, right there in the Middle East, to fight now Iran from the inside. And now that is happening. Iran on the other side, they are also well prepared, and they've been telling Americans that they don't even need to go and reply back on Israel. They are planning to go and reply straight to Americans who are found inside the US. Now, with all this, you can tell already that we are having fake organizations around the world which like to preach the good news about how the world should be united, how the world should be at peace, how democracy should reign around the world, how people should respect their constitutions, how people should respect even their United Nations charters, whatsoever they call it. But yet, they are number ones who are going around the world, meddling in other nations' politics, bringing conflict among nations, killing innocent people, committing serious crimes on children and women who can't even be able to defend themselves. Yet, they will come and say that no, we are there, we are doing something. Instead of America, let's just say like, okay, it is true America has nothing to do with this. When Netanyahu was having the courage to go on media and saying that, no, we'll hit so hard to all our enemies around the world so that they'll take a lesson. We're supposed to be seeing United States coming in, at least to trying to stop the Prime Minister of Israel. Trying maybe to tell them that, no, guys, take it easy. We'll figure it out. We'll come up with a better plan. Did they do so? They did not do that. Why? For the obvious reasons. Because they are the one who are behind all this. They came in the media supporting Israel. They even went and give the Israel government some fundings so that they can go and kill these innocent people. You guys, you heard Joe Biden giving a speech telling that no, he's going to ask the Congress to release some funds. They even stopped giving money to Ukraine. Zelensky is becoming a crying baby.
I'm again repeating, and I'm repeating in these 2 years. If it will be not enough for them, it will not be enough. Because Syria was not enough. They began in Ukraine. After Ukraine, in the Middle East, they will continue their plan.
The men can now realize that all the promises that they had given to him, no one is respecting it. As we are talking right now, Zelensky is on his way to the United States of America to meet Joe Biden again so that he can remind him of his promises. Yes, yesterday he participated in the new leader of Argentina inaugurations, and you can tell already that the man is on his way. He's already announced that he's gonna be in the United States of America by Tuesday. He's going to ask America to not abandon him at this moment. Anyway, that is another topic that I would like to discuss more in our next video. But guys, I just want to say that you see for yourself that these people they can't be trustworthy. Yes, they can't be trustworthy because they don't care about human life. They care about their own interest. Especially this government of Joe Biden. They don't really care. They don't really care. They just want to make sure that they are there. You guys, you saw how Americans are now even divided. Some of our Americans are even surprised to see how things have get this far, because the world have opened their eyes. The world have understand that we can't keep on relying on these people. We can't keep on following in their games. We can't let them do whatsoever pleases them. The world have understand that we need to do things differently. We need to show these people that we are sovereign countries. So all the tic-tacs that the US used to apply before, that used to work for them, the tips that used to make them look like the world's most powerful nations, many people, they have understood it already. And that is the reason why, even if you look among the NATO nations, most of them, they are now distancing themselves from all this. They don't want to be part of this because they can understand that there's nothing good that is happening with this US, because they will bring you in some troubles. And what hates most all these nations for the fact that whatsoever the US decide is what all of you have to obey, is what all of you have to do. And that is something that most of these nations, they don't want anymore. Now, what can Palestine's people do? Yes, the Palestinians, they have to assume their own responsibility. They need to fight for their true revelation. If they don't do that, no one will do it in their behalf. Palestinians, they need to stand on their feet and do it as South Africans we did back then during the apartheid time, to fight on our own so that we can free ourselves. So they need also to do the same. What kind of nation is this? You allowing some people coming in, killing you civilians who had nothing to do with whatsoever a mass group, terrorist group they've been accused of. Because when Israel is striking on Palestinians, they don't try to check whether there is according to the information they're having, whether there is the rebels, the terrorist group among these civilians or not. These people, when they're coming in, they're making sure that they destroy whatsoever is working, whatsoever it is briefing, they want to make sure that they destroy it. So guys, why can't you also organize yourself and defend yourself? Yes. Defend yourself and defend your territory. You heard Julius Malema saying that if these things continue like this, you wake up one day, you're not going to see Palestinians because it will be deleted from the map. And it will only remain a history which will be written, and many people will read it, especially the upcoming generation. They'll know that there used to be a country called Palestine, and it was wiped off by the Western power alongside Israel. So Palestinian people, they need at least to do something on their own in order for them to defend themselves. They need to fight. They need to start organizing themselves and face, rather being killed while you are trying to defend yourself, your family, your territory, and you just being killed for something that you not even do, like without you making enough effort. Because when these people that are killing, most of these people that are being killed inside church, some of them, they are just sitting at home in your house, and the next thing you find yourself like you are dead because they killed you. They did not even check whether you were at home or what. No one cares about it. So guys, the Palestinian people, they need to do something about themselves if they want to survive that. Anyway, thank you so much for taking your time to watch this video. It was very important that we get to discuss on the message that the president of EFF had given as his point of view, that this war in Palestine, it has nothing to do with Israel, but it has something to do with the US. And through this video, we try to dig even more deeper to make you understand why Julius Malema think that it is the US who is behind all this. We give you different examples that prove that the USA, that the mastermind behind this war in Palestine. So don't leave without you liking this video. Give us your thumbs up. We'll really do appreciate that because it means a lot for us. Like this comment, and don't forget to drop your comments in the comment section. Tell us also what you think about what we discussed in this video and what the president of EFF, Julius Malema, had said last week when he was addressing his followers somewhere in South Africa. So guys, thank you so much again for everything. I'll see you again in our next video, but for now, continue to be yourself, be good, be kind, have respect for everyone in order for you to be respected. May God bless you all. I'll see you again very soon in our next video. Ciao, ciao.